Ladies and gentlemen, I know it's late at night, but I want to give you some breaking news and a couple of fronts. Well, it's not breaking news, actually, unless you aren't paying attention to the news in the last 24 hours. Can you believe that the Democrats have decided to have a recount of the vote in Broward and County and Palm Beach? A whole slew of lawyers have just flown in, ladies and gentlemen, to Broward County and Palm Beach, the two most corrupt counties in Florida. I'm trying not to laugh, but I can't help it. You see, because when the polls closed, there were 631,000 votes, and now they're going to be recounted because it's roughly a small percentage of some 30,000 votes between Senator Nelson and Senator Scott. Well, not yet Senator Scott, because Senator Nelson is, of course, not going out until we've had the recount. Out of the 631,000 votes that were counted, wait a second, 5 hours later, they said it was actually 695,000 ballots. So wait a second, 4 hours after that, they came up with 707,000. Evidently, someone had accidentally left a few in their pockets. And then after 14 hours of checking, they found 712,000 votes. Thus, they're reducing the gap from 31,000 down to 21,000, down to 15,000, down to 7,000. And they are going to continue looking for potentially missed ballots in various places, left in bathrooms and other locations around the polling location, until December, when they expect they will have 1.2 million ballots that they discover were actually missing, overlooked, or somehow left in Brenda Snipes' car. You see, Brenda Snipes comes in and she's saying, wait a second. Just because I was found guilty in 2016 of destroying ballots and of doing illegal activity doesn't mean I'm doing it again. Well, it's 2014 and 2016 she was convicted. But you know what? We're not going to hold any unforgiveness or bitterness or suspicion against him. After all, love believes all things. And I'll believe this guy's going to be senator when it happens, because those Democrats, I'll tell you what. Now, Scott Walker, on the other hand, he had 30,000 votes between him and his competition, and you know what he did? He did the respectable Republican thing. He bowed out. He should be insisting on a recount, and he should be flying in the Democratic lawyers are working in Palm Beach and Broward County, and see if they can bring some of those boxes with them, and maybe they could box up what's her name? Brenda Snipes, and bring her with them, because she's sure to have found a couple of 100,000 missing votes somewhere in the precinct. Anyway, but then that's not even the worst part. Did you see the utterly disgraceful behavior of the journalist? You would think that this guy was John Knox, fighting for religious liberty. This guy, Acosta. But you know what really cracks me up? Don't get mad at me. Don't stone the prophet. But all of the Q whisperers out there who are trying to convince me that Mueller and Sessions and Acosta are all working with the president to theoretically set up the sealed indictments of 2,000 or 2,500 people. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this goes in the category of the big red wave people were telling me about. Now, you notice I didn't go on there and talk about the red wave. And I didn't talk about the blue wave, because you know what I knew? I knew there was going to be no wave. I knew that the big blue wave was going to become a little tinkle. And I knew that was going to happen because with Donald Trump on the campaign trail, you could see that he is his own red wall. But there was no red wave. Now let's talk about this for a second. 45, unprecedented number, 45 Republicans have retired or stepped down. I'm going to tell you a little bit of inside information. A number of them stepped down, which created an unusual gap in terms of the number of seats that have to be defended. Now, the average congressman, you should know this in case any of you ever run for Congress. I got friends that are running for Congress. Congress, it's already in office, has a 2-to-1 advantage because they have name recognition. That's why Trump had an advantage over a lot of the other people running. What happened to Bobby Jindal? I mean, he was running at one time. Just random thought. But there are certain people that don't have the same name recognition. And so Trump had the name recognition. Now, these congressmen that do have name recognition have an instantaneous advantage. 45 Republicans gave up their seats. There were two kinds of people: retiring whiny rhinos, which is probably good because they weren't good Trump congressmen anyway. But there's a high percentage that simply don't want to go through what Tucker Carlson's going through, the crap that the left puts people through all the time. I know congressmen that have shots at their car. They don't go to the news about it because they don't want more shots taken at their car. I'm talking about the left is flipping lawless. You know what? And their assault on the news constantly makes the unstable people more unstable because they create such a toxic environment. So all these people that talk about, we need to tone down the rhetoric on the left and the right. No, you need to tone it down on the radical left because the right doesn't. The average pro-life Catholic and evangelical Christian isn't out standing in your driveway terrorizing your wife and kids. Not the last time I've looked in my driveway anyway. Anyway, I'm so tired of Acosta sitting there being so abusive and disrespectful. And why does the president call on him? Do you know that Barack Obama, in his first 60 press conferences or so, tried to get Fox News taken off and only called them 16 times? His first 60 press conferences, like 14 or 16 times. I don't know why Donald Trump puts this clown on the front row. Well, anyway, I shouldn't say anything negative because actually I found some footage of Acosta. He's changing his way. The only way that I can possibly cope with this man is by considering the fact that he is changing his ways. I'm going to play for you right now, some footage you might not know about, which is Jim Acosta, who is changing his tune right now. Let's see if I can. This is what he said recently. All right, let's try and get this to play here. Oh, no, we're having a problem. Oh, there he goes. I'm sorry, Mr. President. I was wrong. I feel very bad about my behavior. I've been going through Sozo lately, and I'm feeling a lot better about myself, and I think I owe the president an apology. I owe a real apology. Well, I'd like to apologize, but I have some more work I got to do. Okay, well, I apologize, Mr. President. I'll be better. Well, okay, that's live. That's breaking news right there. Jim Acosta repenting. And I'm supporting him on his path to recovery. We're cheering for Jim. Jim, we've all been there. And I want you to think about this. Listen how creaky my chair is. Do you hear that? I'm so sorry. I should have a more professional studio. But this is what we do. We do this for you. By the way, this is what Christians do. Christians are so nice. This is what we do. We sing, we love people, we worship. But I got news for you. That's not going to make the left treat you any nicer because you're a nice person. Oh, wait, latest count. They've now found another 42,000 missing votes in Broward County and Palm Beach. Evidently, it was in the refrigerator at a Waffle House and has just been found. All right, so I'll keep you posted on what's happening. But you know what I noticed? Listen to what Trump said. You got to catch everything that Donald Trump says. I'm going to start a new program. I'm going to call it Trump Whisperer. I'm going to give you the interpretation of Trumpian tongues and tweets. This last conference is so great. I'm going to probably cue it up for you once I get done with Acosta here. But Trump he says basically, I want to have a nice relationship. I want to have a nice relationship with Nancy Pelosi. And then, of course, the press starts revealing the fangs come out, And so then Donald Trump, they say, well, what if they come after you for indictments? And what if they come after you for this and come after you for that? And then Trump says, well, if they do that, then I'm going to send the unredacted memos and the files that I've got. Now, you know what he's talking about. He's talking about a nightmare scenario where he's going to unleash all the letters, all the memos, which I have a copy of right here, by the way, unredacted. And that means that there ain't no DAX in them. And so it's going to reveal the whole Luciferian strategy of the deep state because they're going to have names. And of course, it's going to be embarrassing because it's going to reveal the extent to which Australia and England, in their deep state infatuation with all things socialist in one world, which was in the Obama administration, are going to come to the surface as all part of the global conspiracy of people working together in order to unseat Donald Trump as a threat to the global order. Now, I don't mean to be sounding too conspiratorial and nutty here. Let me just nail this thing specifically. It's going to be the fraudulent basis upon which FISA warrants were obtained and spying was conducted on Carter Page and Papadopoulos in the Trump headquarters purely as an opposition tactic like breaking into the Watergate Hotel during the Nixon era in order to get something on Trump to derail him for whatever they could find. Now, when the left goes after Trump, and which they're going to do, they can't help it. It's kind of like putting bacon in front of a Rottweiler. They're just going to go for it, unless, of course, it's a kosher Rottweiler, which is another story. But what's going to happen is they're going to go for Trump, and they're going to go after him, and Trump's going to come back, and it's going to be something. Because you know what he said? He said, "Listen, I could play this game as well as you could play this game. They could play the game, I could play the game." And then he said something so cheeky. He said, "But I could play it a lot better." And what he means is he knows how to work with the news cycle. Because basically the news is kind of like, you ever see somebody playing with a cat and a laser pointer? What the guy with the laser pointer does is he just moves the laser pointer around on the carpet, and the cat goes flop, 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 flop. And then they take the laser pointer into the wall, and the cat goes boom, right into the wall. This is exactly what happens to the news cycle. They're so reliably narcissistic that Trump can appeal to any subject he wants as long as he tweaks them the right way, and they will jump for it every time, like the cat chasing the laser pointer into the wall. And so he's absolutely right. Now, he's going to expose names. He's going to expose a lot of stuff. And this isn't going to stop. The Senate, or the congressional committees. But it's going to put division in the Democratic ranks, because there are high-level individuals who do not want these issues pushed and provoked, sophomorically, and they want things done properly. And Trump basically is holding it. Now, Jeff Sessions, of course, attorney generals after Nikki Haley left. I think she left at the wrong time. I think she left in a self-serving way. What the heck? she's a politician. She didn't want to go out after the midterms to get lost in the news. She wanted to go before, where she could have a spotlight, which was not good. But that's okay. That's another story. Even though I know a lot of you like Nikki Haley, I like her too, but she's a self-serving politician like any other human being. But the interesting thing is that with Sessions goes out because he should. These offices all turn over, but the left is apoplectic. They're absolutely they're absolutely wetting themselves over this thing. Now, the reason they're doing that is because they want to believe that Trump's getting in the way of Mueller's closing in. It's 2 years of closing, and not one indictment yet on the issue of Russia. He's close to closing in, and so they're rabid. They're nutty, and so of course Sessions steps down. Mueller's going to come out with his report, but as Sessions steps down, they're all apoplectic because they see that if Trump puts in somebody else, now for instance, it could be anybody. Whitaker's the natural person who's going in right now. Have you seen the size of this guy? He's a former football player. Oh, it's amazing. The guy's like, I don't know if all these guys are like 5 feet tall that are actually in the Senate right now, and this guy's 6, but he towers over them. And so Whitaker is also, but he's already said that Mueller's crossing a red line if he's trying to bring the president in over tax issues. And so Trump is he's smarter now. He wasn't this smart when he went in. And he now knows, dang, I don't want to put someone in there that's going to say, well, I'd like to protect the president, but I can't because of the potential, perplexities I've got. I must recuse myself from this particular aspect of my office. I cannot discuss the Russian investigation. Oh, no. If there's one thing Donald Trump's going to do, I can promise this, he's going to have somebody in that office who is who is an absolute Doberman when it comes to dealing with protecting the president. And, of course, he's not supposed to do that. And he's not supposed to say that. He's not supposed to even pursue that. That's just common sense. So he's going to find his Eric Holder like Barack Obama did. And he's going to find his partner there. Now, the left is, of course, apoplectic because they do see that if you put the right person in that position, they can not only do blocking and tackling, they can take yards. And they're going to go downfield. And what are they going to do? They're going to head up some investigations. Oy vey, you don't want those. They got investigations too. It's like Donald Trump said, you got the Congress, I got the Senate. The Senate can initiate investigations also. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. Hold on to your seatbelts, people. So the news cycle is going to be fantastic in the next season. Now, who could Trump also pick for this role? Now, Giuliani might be too old. He might have too much baggage because of the things he said. But, Rudy would be fun. Wouldn't Rudy be interesting? Excuse me. Then there's this other guy. DiBiase, or what's his name? I've seen him every now and then on Fox. I should be obviously better prepared. Wait a second. The Palm Beach, Broward County has just come up with another box of votes. Oh yes, box of ballots. They were mistaken as laundry at Goodwill, but now they found out they were actually ballots. So they're bringing them in, and it looks like Senator Nelson is up by 48 million votes in Broward County right now, but it's too close to call. They think there's some more votes out there, and every vote counts, and you count every vote, and you vote as often as you can when you're in Broward County and Palm Beach. Now, the other parts of the news cycle that I don't want you to lose sight of is ISIS. ISIS is in crisis because they're hardly anywhere these days. They're spread out into little cells in Europe, I think, and that's not working out. North Korea, how come the president didn't get a Nobel Prize for North Korea? I think his I got a bigger button diplomacy really did the trick, and I think we ought to be sending people to the Harvard bigger button diplomacy school, because Donald Trump has you're not here in North Korea doing any more test missiles, are you? China's interesting too. China is of course very aggressive, and you guys aren't even tracking with China. You guys got to be keeping an eye on China. You know what? Because the stupid American press has us in some fictitious Russia investigation, followed by Stormy Daniels. Well, where did that take us? And then you realize that the two of the people that came forward as Kavanaugh accusers have now exposed the fact that they were actually not. They really didn't have the case that they were purporting to have, and that it was part of a collusion on their part to come up with a concocted story. But don't think for a moment that's not going to stop the Democrats from trying to impeach Kavanaugh and Trump. Of course, it won't go anywhere, except, and I'm just going to say this, and I got to hop off the air, how the Democrats are, how these guys, I don't know why they do this to themselves. It's like watching Barney Fife in one of those episodes of Mayberry RFD. When he gets a gun, he shoots himself in the foot with it. You give these guys power, and then it's like Antifa. I want to find out who the marketing person is in charge of Antifa. Going to Tucker's wife and terrorizing her and the kids, and standing in the driveway and waiting until the video cameras show up with the news media. And I like to know, and don't you want to know, where the heck are the district attorneys and the police that arrest these knuckleheads? Where's the district attorneys with any integrity that prosecute? Why aren't these people ever prosecuted? Anyway, that's another story. Let me just read some notes here. Trey Gowdy's a talker. Well, yeah, Trey, I don't know. Trey is not, he's not really pro-Trump. I want someone that likes Donald Trump, basically, that Trump can hang out. You know what's nice about Mike Pompeo and what's nice about Bolton is Trump can kick back with them and they could talk turkey. You know what I mean? He needs somebody in the Attorney General's office who he can go to with confidence. And let's see. You agree with that, Carolyn? Thank you. And Carol? Hilar, but true. And so, yeah, they are intimidated. Yeah, these district attorneys are intimidated. We need to get some conservative district attorneys. But that's the nice thing about this. What happened to the caravan, by the way? Is anyone curious about the caravan? I'll tell you what I think happened with the caravan. I think the caravan and all of its well-funded lunacy was approaching, and people on the left said, maybe this isn't working out the way we thought it was, Charlie. So the caravan is being dispersed, but I think they're coming in clusters all along the border. They're coming all throughout the border. They're not going to come because Trump said, I'll meet you here. So what the heck with that? Last thing they want to do is meet Trump with, military resistance, even though it might provide some good photo ops for Mr. CNN. But I think that what they're doing now is they're dispersing along the border and they're trying to come through. And I've got some footage and some underground work I ran into recently that'll shock you from mothers that went to the border in order to expose what's going on because they can't find anyone else to do it. And say, wait, breaking news, more ballots have been found. Well, that's news to me. So now they've I think it's up to 51 million votes that were missing in Broward County, and enough so that wasn't Nelson at one time an astronaut? Well, they found some at Cape Canaveral that evidently got put there by accident that should have been in Palm Beach. So the North Pole, by the way, just had an earthquake tonight. No kidding, 6.5. On the Richter scale, or 5 on the Richter scale, significant because that's the North Pole, And so, that it must have some axis, implications in terms of what it does. But I'll look into that later on and give you my geometric calculus as to what that means. It might mean that there's going to be a serious upset in Broward County and Palm Beach. Now, I just want to say something else. Did you notice Donald Trump said the embrace? Oh, you guys, I'm telling you, I've got to get the footage on this. Everyone misses this stuff in the news. I want to see it. Donald Trump says in the news conference, he goes, the ones that took the embrace, they did good. Do you know that every Democrat that voted against Kavanaugh in the Senate, they went out. Every one of them that voted against Kavanaugh. It's interesting. And what Trump said is every one of the Republicans that he offered the embrace to, but they didn't take the embrace. He always picks these funny words, the embrace, like the hug. They didn't take the Trump hug. And you know what? Things didn't work out. I'm going to tell you something about Governor Scott. He hasn't always been the most affirming man with the Trumpster. The president has not always been. So, and I know people are going to say, well, Lance, for someone to get elected in Florida, they cannot be a Trump sycophant. Well, I'm going to say this. Those that honor, those whom God honors, God will honor. You got to be a good candidate. You got to give a track record. But I think that Scott might want to just say a little prayer tonight and say, Lord, forgive me for saying and thinking those bad things about Mr. President. I will honor him whom you honor, and I will bless him. I'm just saying that, he's twisted in the wind right now. And I'm just saying, if you're watching this, Governor Scott, just say, Lord, forgive me. I'm going to work with the president. I'm not going to be speaking bad about him because I think he needs to take the embrace. All right. I'll tell you what. I got more to say. I had a very interesting day today at a conference. I'm going to be in Waco, Texas. You guys want to go to Waco tomorrow? Wake up in Waco. Yes, that's right. I'm going to be in Waco, Texas. I'm going to be at Ramiro Pina's church. This is the Latino faith advisor for President Donald Trump. Ramiro Pina. He's a good friend of mine. And it's more Italian than Spanish. I'll work on my Spanish accent tomorrow. But Ramiro Pina, I just want to say this before we go off the air. How outrageous that Twitter has banned this Hispanic pastor. Has banned him on Twitter. You should be outraged. If you're Hispanic, you should be right now sharing this. Matter of fact, everyone share the broadcast. Because we covered a lot of stuff here, including Acosta's, his breakthrough. He's having a Sozo experience here, and we're rooting for him. And I caught that footage. I gave it to you here, live breaking news. But Ramiro Pina, pastor in Waco, Texas, I'm going to be with him tomorrow. We're going to be broadcasting from there. He was banned on Twitter, and then they wiped out all of his followers. 10,000 Latinos wiped out by Twitter. Share this. Ramiro Pina. I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow, and you can see him. I was at the Trump Hotel with him, and it's just 2 broadcasts ago. You can find it right there on my Facebook page, Lance Wallnau with the blue check. Not those fake Lance Wallnaus. I have one fake Lance Wallnau. It's hilarious. Not saying nothing. It's a lady from the Dominican Republic. I don't know what it is, but she's going by the name Lance Wallnau. I'm assuming when you get to that page, you'll know it's not me. Unless, of course, I'm getting in touch with my feminine side. But what I really want to say to you is this. We're in interesting times. There's a new attorney general coming in. Donald Trump has held the Senate. Only 3 presidents sitting in office have ever gained the Senate while they were in the midterms. Barack Obama lost 60 seats. The Trumpster has only given up 11 seats advantage to the Democrats. They do not have a mandate, but boy, they're going to torture us for 2 years with investigations into Trump's tax returns, and they're going to try to make him look like he's an embezzler and a fraud and a mafioso. And you know what's going to happen? We're all going to get so fed up with it. We're going to do what we did when Bill Clinton got persecuted by these, shall we say, sanctimonious Republicans for his Lewinsky affair, which, by the way, wasn't with somebody 10 years ago. It was with somebody while he was at work. But I'm not comparing Stormy Daniels to Monica Lewinsky. Not at all. I'm simply saying that they never should have impeached him because when they did that, the nation said, you know what, this is such a personal vendetta you guys have. We're not that upset with Bill Clinton. And they put the guy in office again. Trump's going back in 2020 because the Democrats are reliably obnoxious. They have the worst image branding of any. They used to be great on messaging, but it's that laser pointer. It's that when Trump works that laser pointer, there goes the cat, into the wall. Ooh, there they go again. There, he's just got them because they're They call him a narcissist. He's not. He's got incredible emotional intelligence. When it comes to calculated restraint in order to win, he's a great negotiator because he loves winning and he controls himself till he can put the squeeze on you. The left, on the other hand, has very little impulse control. Very little impulse control. They're like a person who's, that has a Krispy Kreme addiction, walking around a Krispy Kreme. They can't have, they got to go for it. All right, well, share this, people. Share this. I know it's late at night, but you know what? It's the early worm that catches the bird. No, it's the early bird that catches the worm. The early worm that catches. And it's 12:20 here in Texas. It's 1:20 on the East Coast. It's 11:20 somewhere else. All right, so share this broadcast. And I want you to share this. We're going to be back. We're going to be relentlessly broadcasting. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a show. Tell me, would you rather have me do the show on CRTV or Newsmax? We're doing voting, people. I'm going to do a news show. I'm going to do my Trump whispering on a regular basis, and we're going to do a news show because I'm just loving these news cycles. And the only way I can handle these news cycles is actually to talk about it. It's like you guys help me deal with my cathartic need to talk about how insane things are. But then again, we're going to pray. We're going to pray because it wouldn't be a good broadcast without offending someone over my evangelical values and conservative principles. Share this broadcast with your friends. Father, we pray in Jesus' name that you are going to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children to their fathers. You're going to do a sweeping work among millennials in the next season, the next 24 months. You're going to be raising up millennial voices. You're going to raise up more David Rubens and Jordan Petersons. You're going to raise up more, Lord, voices in the secular and in the Christian community that are going to be like flames of fire in your field, and you're going to light the fields on fire with an awakening. I pray, Lord, that you're going to awaken. These people that are watching me are part of the awakening. I pray that every one of them will have a zeal put in their spirit, a courage and a boldness in their spirit, and a clarity in their understanding regarding the issues of deception that we are dealing with, the big ideas that are in play right now. I pray that the veil will be pierced over the minds of the majority of Americans, and that those that are filled with malice, the influence and the power that is working through them will be bound, and you will divert these incidents, Lord, around the country into rivers of righteousness, that we're going to see an awakening and a revival. A great clashing of swords will result in the taking of territory in the institutional high places of media, academia, politics, business and wealth transfer, in communities and cities and families and counties. And brothers and sisters, you know why we got a problem? Because Christians are weak in this concentrated areas where the demons are strongest. And I'm talking about cities. We're weak in New York. We're weak in LA. We're weak in San Francisco. We're weak in Chicago. We're weak in Miami. We're weak in Dallas. But I'm thanking you, Lord, that you're now raising up apostolic power and prophetic punch and great awakening authority in the midst of the most tangled networks of concentrated population and cinder block buildings, and in the midst of skyscrapers, Lord, in the very places where we have the densest populations. I pray for the greatest fires. May you raise your voice in the Jerusalems, in the Romes, in the Athens, in the Corinths, in the Ephesus of our hour, all over the world, all over the world, all over the world, in Jesus' name. Now, Lord, we pray for Governor, for Senator, for the man seeking to be Senator Scott in Florida. We ask you, Lord, now that, Lord, will you forgive him for the things that he's said and done that have been the calculus that has dishonored and distanced himself from alignment with Cyrus, whom you have put in office. And I pray now an alignment from heaven all the way through Florida, all the way through the governor's office, all the way through every congressional seat, and all the way through the Senate, in Texas and in Florida. And may I say, on the West Coast, from Washington all the way down through California. I pray, Lord God, the fire of the Spirit of God is going to raise up those that are going to take ground politically. And there'll be a separation that is happening right now between counties and counties in terms of the blessing and the flourishing and the hand of the Lord. In Jesus' name, raise up your people. Raise up your people. Raise up your people. By the way, I'm so happy over this guy, who I did an interview with up in Charlotte area, and where they're going to have the Republican convention. Mark Harris, was it? Mark Harris. I was calling him Mark Howard. It's embarrassing. I forget people's names right after I interview them, especially a congressman now. But this man was a pastor who became a congressman, and it was a close fight, close battle. Shout out to Mahesh and Bonnie Chavda. Mahesh and Bonnie Chavda helped get that man elected. Share, 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 people. We're on the march. We're on the move. We're on the go. We're on the flow. Should I do CRTV? Should I do Newsmax? Are there any other stations you think I should be doing? Are there any other stations I should be on? Would you like to see me on any other stations? Share this broadcast, my friends. Share it. Share it. I'm not selling anything. Notice, I'm not selling anything. I'm not asking you to buy. Even though you can be part of my 7M Underground, 7mu.com, 7mu.com, 7mu.com. But I'm not marketing anything. I'm just sharing my love with the people. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, I'm Lance Wallnau. But you already know that. What you don't know is you can subscribe and get another video. And I encourage you to do that right now. Just do it now while the moment's here. Just press that subscribe button and go for it.